Hello everybody. So in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to install Arch Linux. Arch Linux, as you can see in their website, is a very lightweight and flexible Linux distribution, and which tries to keep it simple, meaning that you can install and build your operating system from the ground up. You can install whatever applications you want uh, and build a very minimalist system, which is uh, which is usable by you. Okay, so I'm going to install Arch Linux in this tutorial and guide you through the process. A lot of people think that installing Arch is pretty difficult, but actually it's not that hard. Um I'll guide you through the entire process, and then you will see that it's not at all hard. So, uh, the first step is to download Arch Linux. You can just go to their website, which is archlinux.org, and then go to the download page. And in the download page, it's about 800 MB, as you can see. And in the download page, you can just go down and then click on a worldwide mirror. You can even use these mirrors also, but the worldwide mirrors are faster, so I just use those. Maybe your mirror can be faster than the worldwide mirror, but for me the worldwide mirror works the best. So I just click on the first one, and then download the ISO, okay, the .iso, okay. So after you have downloaded that, you can just create a bootable USB by, if you're on Linux, using the dd command. And if you're on Windows, you can just use Rufus. You can use Rufus for creating bootable USB drive. If you're on Mac, you can use Etcher. Etcher is cross-platform, so you can even use this in Windows if you want, and Linux. So this is a cross-platform disk image utility. So after you have created a bootable drive, you can just plug it in your computer and boot from it by going to your one-time boot menu or your BIOS settings. You can look up how to do that because the process is very different in different systems. So yeah, after you have booted up, I'll create a virtual machine for me. I'll just name this Arch. I'll give about 3 GB of RAM. 96. Next, create a virtual hard disk now. VDI, fixed size. I'll give about let's say 25 GB is enough for me. And then can hit create. I'll go to the settings. By the way, if this is your first time installing Arch, I recommend you to use a virtual machine, because if something goes wrong, you can easily lose your data. So it's better to first try it on a virtual machine, and then if you want to install it on a physical machine. So in the settings, I'll just some basic settings, which is video memory, I'll enable 3D acceleration, network, I'll do bridge adapter, and then something else. Yeah. Okay. So after this, you can just add the ISO. This is only for the people who are using virtual machines in this tutorial. I just add my ISO here. And then I'll hit OK. I'll double check the network settings again, because I will connect to it via SSH. Yeah, okay. So now my machine is ready to be started, so I'll just start the machine. ISO. So after you have booted up your system, by the way, this installation will be for BIOS and MBR systems. BIOS and MBR systems are the systems which is a little bit old, like about 8 to 10 years old. Uh, the older systems will have BIOS, and newer systems will have UEFI. But I have a BIOS system here. This is a BIOS system, and I have configured this virtual machine also to be a BIOS system. So, and the first tutorial I'll make is for BIOS systems. In the next tutorial, I'll show you how to install Arch Linux in UEFI and GPT systems, which is the new types of system. So here, when you boot up, you can just click on the first one, which is Arch Linux install medium. Hit enter, and this will boot up. This is booting from an ISO and a virtual machine, so it may take some time. Just be patient. Let's wait. Till that time, you can see the Arch Linux website, and you can explore it. So the main reason people use Arch Linux is for the AUR. If you go in there, as you can see, AUR. This is the Arch user repositories. It's basically the best package repository you can find. If there is, people say that if a package is not there in the AUR, it cannot be found anywhere in the Linux world. So yeah, this is the best thing Arch Linux has, which is the Arch Linux user repository, which is having every single package man knows. So yeah, after installing, I'll show you how to access the AUR also. Anything else? So Arch Linux is a very lightweight distribution. If my computer is still, it only takes about 123 megabytes of RAM, so which is pretty lightweight. As you can see, the virtual machine has been booted up. Now I'll just connect through SSH. So I'll just enable the service. This is not required. This is only because I want to show you the commands in my big terminal. So I'll just start the service, and then I'll give a password for the user. Now I'll see the IP. So I'll connect to the machine and I'll be back on it. Okay. So as you can see, I have connected via SSH to the ISO. I'll just clear the terminal here, and now I'll show you the commands you need to run to get it installed. I was getting some errors because I had already added the same IP address, so I just troubleshooted it. So now I'll just we'll start the installation. Okay. So we'll go to the installation guide. The first step is to set up the keyboard layout. I'm going to use the US keyboard layout because it works fine for me, and it has all the it has the same keyboard layout as I use. So I'm going to leave this default, but you can follow these steps and do whatever it says. Okay. Next step is to connect the internet. No, before that, verify the boot mode. This is not required, as I already said that this installation will be for BIOS and MBR systems. But if you still are confused in which boot mode you have booted in, you can just run this command. And if something shows up without an error, this means that you are in UEFI mode, and you can follow the next video I will post. But this video is only for BIOS systems. Okay. So the next step is to connect to the internet. If you are in Ethernet, it's very likely that you'll already have internet. You can just check it by just typing ping google.com. So if you get pings, this means that you have internet connection. So yeah, if you are on Wi-Fi, this I had problems doing with Wi-Fi, so I'm just going to show you. There is a tool inbuilt in the ISO which is IWD, and the command is IWCTL. So if you just type IWCTL and then device list, sorry for the background noise, device list, and then the name of the device. Most of the time it will be something like WLP2S04 or WLAN0, something like that, okay? If you are on Wi-Fi. So station and then the device name and then scan. This will scan the available networks nearby you. Now you can just see the networks by running this command. Remember to substitute device with the name of your device. And then you can finally connect to the network. If the network has a password, you can run this command. Before that, you need to exit the utility by typing exit and then run this command, which is IWCTL, then -- passphrase, and then the password of your Wi-Fi, and then station and the name of the device, connect, and then the name of your Wi-Fi, SSID. Okay. So after you have done this, you will have internet connection. You can just check if you have internet connection by running the ping command again. If you get pings, this means that you have internet connection. So after you have checked that you have internet connection, our next step is to update the system clock. This will ensure that the system clock is accurate by checking the network time. Okay, so to do this, you can just run this command: time date ctl set ntp true. As you can see, it has ran successfully without errors. You can check it by just typing time date ctl status, and as you can see, NTP service is active. Okay. So after this, you can just go to the next step, which is partitioning the disk. This step is very important, and it requires you to be very careful, because if you format and make partitions of some another disk, you can easily lose your data. So I recommend please follow this tutorial and be careful. So before that, you can also run this command by just type lsblk or list blocks. You can see that I have an SDA device which is about 25 GB. As I made the virtual machine, I gave 25 GB to the disk, and I'm going to install Arch Linux on this disk. Okay, so I'm going to use CFDisk. The installation guide says fdisk, but I find CFDisk to be a little bit more intuitive, so I'm just going to use CFDisk, and then you can just type CFDisk and then the path of your disk, which is /dev and then /sda. If you are installing this on any other disk, it can be /dev/sda or sdb or sdc, or it can be nvme 0 something like 0lp, something like that. Okay, yeah, nvme 0n1, something like that. Okay, so after you have identified your disk and started CFDisk on it, which is in this case SDA, I'll hit enter. For me, it is saying to select a label type. If you already have an operating system on the disk, it will not say it will not show this menu. It will directly go to the next menu. So don't get scared. You can just follow it from the next menu. Okay, next step. So if you get this menu, you can just hit on DOS. Okay, select label type DOS. Hit enter. Now you will see an interface which is something like this. Now I create two partitions, which is a swap partition and then a root partition. A swap partition basically will improve your system's performance a little bit. So I recommend if you have a low-end system to create a swap partition. Okay. So yeah, if you have a very high-end system which has nice specs, swap partition will just take up your space, so you can just skip the swap. Okay. So for me, I'll just create a swap which is the size of the swap should be the same size of your RAM. So I in this case I gave about 3 gigs of RAM to this virtual machine. So I'll just create a partition with the name of with the size of 3 gigs. The partition will be primary, and as you can see, the partition has been created. Now the type here is Linux. I don't want the type here is Linux, but I want to change that. So you can just go to the type here and then hit enter, and then go up, and as you can see it is saying Linux swap / Solaris. You have to select this one, and as you can see now it is saying Linux swap / Solaris. Okay, now you can just go down and then create a new partition. I'll give the rest of the space to it. It's a primary partition, and then and then I'll just go to right, hit enter. I'll just say yes, and then remember to type the full yes. Okay, the full word yes, and then hit enter, and then I'll just press quit. Done. Now if you type lsblk again, as you can see now I have 2 partitions in it. The first one is a swap partition which is about 3 gigs, and the second one is a root partition which is about 22 gigs. Now we'll create the file systems for it. The first I'll create the swap first. So you can just type mk swap for make swap, and then the partition path which is /dev/sda and then 1. So 1, and I'll hit enter. As you can see it is saying setting up swap space, size 3 gigs. Okay. Next step is to create the file system for our root partition. I'm going to use ext4. This is very common. If you don't have any other preference, you can just use this. So you can just type mkfs.ext4 and then /dev/sda2 in my case. If you don't know what I'm running here, basically I am creating the ext4 file system on this partition. If you don't have any other preference, I recommend to use ext4 only, because it's a very nice, but not nice. It's a very easy and does not require that much robust. It's robust and it's pretty good for beginners. Okay, so then you can just hit enter, mkfs.ext4 and the name of the partition. Hit enter. Yeah, as you can see it's done. Now again we'll type lsblk. Now we'll activate the swap by just typing swap on, and then the path which is /dev/sda1. Hit enter. Now type lsblk again. As you can see now it is saying swap here. This means that the swap is activated. Now we are going to install Arch Linux on the 22 gig partition. So for accessing the 22 gig partition, we first need to mount the partition. So for mounting the partition, you can just type mount and then /dev/sda2 and then the mount point. There is a mount point in Linux which is /mnt, so I'm going to use that. But you can even create a directory and mount it there. So I'm going to use the /mnt mount point here. You can just again, if you know how to mess around with Linux, you can do whatever you want. But if this is your first time installing Arch Linux, I recommend you to follow along whatever I do. Okay, in whatever I do. So hit enter. It has been mounted up. Now our next step is to install the base system. Meaning that we are installing the system so that we can get into it and do further changes. Okay. So the command for this is backstrap, then the mount point which is /mnt, and then the packages you want to install. First one is base, then Linux, the kernel itself, the Linux dash firmware, and then a text editor. In this case, I'll just use Nano. Again, if you know how to use Vim, you can use Vim. But if you are a beginner, use Nano. Okay, it's a pretty beginner friendly editor. Okay, but I recommend after you have installed Arch Linux, try to learn Vim. Okay, so install Nano and something else. Let's see. We'll install the networking and stuff like that in the next when we just after getting into the operating system. So yeah, I think that's enough. Hit enter. Now this is going to take a while. It will take around 10 to 15 minutes depending on your internet connection. Usually it takes about for me it usually takes about 20 minutes. Not 20 minutes, about 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, but it's upon your internet connection. So yeah, and after this process is over, I'll meet you after this installation is over. Okay. So as you can see that the packages are now installed because I have the prompt back again. So we'll go to the next step, which is generating the file system. The next step is to generate the file system so that we can the computer will automatically mount root partition and or on the swap partition. So we can just do that by typing genfstab and then -u for the UUIDs. And if you don't know what the -u stands for, basically, if you don't give the -u, there are if you give the -l, it will use the labels. So if you sometimes the drive's name can change, so that's when your system can break. So it's best to use U, which is the UUID. Okay, so you can just type genfstab then -U and then /mount and then append that to /mount /fstab. Okay, hit enter. It's done. Great. Now we'll get into a new system. We can do that by typing arch-chroot. Chroot stands for changed root. Okay, change root. And then /mnt, which is the mount point. Hit enter. As you can see, the prompt changed. Now we are in our installed system. Okay. The next step is to set up a time zone. I'll just to do that you can just type ls and then /user usr share zone info. Hit enter. Now you can see a lot of things come out. You can just go to your specific place where you live. You can just let's see. I live in Asia, so /Asia again. Now I'll look for my nearest city. I know that it is Calcutta or Kolkata because I'm in India. So Kolkata. Yeah. So this is my time zone. You can check yours, and when you get your time zone, you can just type ln-sf and then /user share zone info and then change this accordingly. Asia and then Kolkata. Okay, change the Asia and change this part accordingly. Okay, then /etc/local time. Yeah, okay, /etc/local time. Hit enter. Done. Next step is to set up a hardware clock. You can do that by typing hw clock --sys2 8c. Hit enter. Done. Next step is to set up a localization. Now, we have installed Nano here. You can just type nano, hit enter. As you can see, this is a text editor. You can type text in it. I'll just exit it. Now we want to edit a file which is /etc/local.gen. Hit enter. Okay, go down. and find en_us or English US. Here en_us the UTF-8 version. Okay. Remove the hash sign from the beginning. You can check any other locale if you want, but en_us, which is the English US, is a good choice if you don't have any preference. Then you can exit the editor by doing Ctrl X and then Y to save the file, and then enter, and you have exited the editor. Okay. Now you can just type locale-gen for generating them. Let's wait. Its generation has been completed. Our next step is to create the locale.conf file. You can just do that by typing nano/etc/locale.conf, hit enter, type this, the exact same thing. lang is equal to en_us dot UTF-8. The same thing. You can change this whatever you want. Then Ctrl X, Y, enter. Saved. Okay. Next step is to set up a keyboard layout. I am going to use the default English US, but you can change this to whatever you want. Okay. Next step is network configuration. Yeah, this is very important. Type nano/etc/hostname. In here you can name your system. You can name this whatever you want. I'll just call this Arch, and then I'll hit I'll save and exit the file. Exit the editor. Done. Now we'll add our hosts. You can do that by typing nano/etc/hosts. Hit enter. There should be lines above, which is something like this. Go below and then just type 127.0.0.1. Hit a tab and then localhost and then ::1. 2 tabs, localhost again, and then 127.0.1.1. Here your name of your system, in this case it's Arch, dot local domain, a tab, and then the name of your system again, Arch. Yes. So after this you can just Ctrl X, Y, enter, which saves and exit the editor. Next step is to generate the initramfs. This already has been done when using the packstrap command, so I'm just not going to do that. Next step is to set up a password. Do that by typing passwd. Okay, passwd. Hit enter. New password. Give whatever password you want. Retype it. Hit enter. The password has been updated. Okay. Next step is to install the bootloader and some network packages. To do that, it's pretty simple. You can just type pacman, capital S, and then grub, then DOS, FS tools, M tools, network manager, what else? Wireless_tools, WPA_supplicant. Yeah, this should be enough for now. If you are dual booting with another system, you should also install OS-Prober, which will try to find other operating systems and drive. But I have only one operating system on it, so that's not required. So pacman-s, grub, DOS, FS tools, M tools, network manager, wireless tools, and WP supplicant. Grub is a bootloader, so that we can boot into our system. DOS, FS tools, and M tools are just file system tools. Network manager is our utility, so that we can connect to our internet. Wireless tools is another connection utility, and WPN supplicant is also connection utility. Okay, hit enter. Hit enter again. Now this will again go out and grab some packages, and let's wait. I'll not pause the video here because it will not take that much time here. So let's wait. After this video, after installing Archinux, in the next video in this series, I'll also show you how to get the same desktop as I have. You know, your windows can be automatically tiled, the same configuration, the same bar up. Yeah, okay. So after you have installed this, I'll show you how to get the same system right here. Okay, the default browsers, etc. Okay. Yeah, so as you can see, the download has been completed. Now the installation has started. Let's see if my recording is going on. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. As you can see, it's completed. Nice. Okay. After this, we'll install the bootloader. Before that, we'll install some Ucode packages. You can just type pacman capital S, then Intel-Ucode if you have an Intel processor. If you have an AMD processor, you can type AMD-Ucode. Okay. And if you're on a virtual machine, I don't think so you need some Ucode. So I'll just I'll not install it. If you have an NVIDIA package, you'll not need any Ucodes. Okay. Now you can now we'll install grub by typing grub-install for installing grub, and then --target equal i386-pc space and then /dev/sda. Remember to give the path of the disk, not a partition. Okay, the disk itself. Okay, hit enter. This will not take that much time because it can take some time because I'm running a virtual machine, but it will not take that much time if you run it. So let's wait. Archinux is pretty responsive, as you can see. If I just hit a key binding, it in no time a terminal comes out. Yeah, it's pretty responsive. Let's see. Let's wait. It's taking too much time, but it will be done. Yeah, it's done. Installation finished. No error report. Our next step is to create a configuration file. You can do that by typing grub-mk config. Okay, grub-make config space -o and then /boot/grub/grub.cfg. Okay, hit enter. It's in generating grub configuration file. Found a kernel. Yeah, okay, it's done. Okay, just remove this warning because we are not installed OS Cover, so it's not required. Okay, it's done. Our next step is to enable the packages. Okay, so you can type systemctl enable network manager with capital N and capital M. This command is required so that we can have access to the internet after the system has been booted up. Hit enter. It has updated. It has created the same links. Nice. What else? What else can be done before? Yeah, I think that's it. Now let's see if it starts. Okay, we'll just exit out of our new system. Done. Now we'll umount-a. Okay, whatever. This is nothing too serious. Next, you can just reboot. As you can see, it is rebooting here. Oh, it has again booted up from our ISO. I'll just close this system. Preferences close. Power off. Okay. In this step, you'll remove the USB if you are on a physical machine. I'll just remove the ISO from here. And storage, remove, delete. Okay. Done. Okay. Now the moment of truth. Let's start. Okay. Start. If everything went nice, it will. Why is it showing something like this? The disk should be suitable for starting a computer and should be. Let's. Yeah, as you can see, it is saying welcome to Grub, and we have Grub here. We'll click on Arch Linux. It is loading Linux. If everything went well, this will start our new system. Let's wait. As you can see, our system has booted up. We'll just log in by the username root and then password, and we are in our new system. Okay. Our next step is let's see if we have internet here. IPA. As you can see, I have internet here. If you don't have internet, if you don't have internet, and if you are using a Wi-Fi, if you have Ethernet, it will you'll have internet guaranteed. If you don't have internet and you are using Wi-Fi, you can run this nmcli device Wi-Fi list, the command which I have run here. Okay, hit enter and you will see all the nearby networks. Okay, after that you can just type nmcli device Wi-Fi connect, and then the SSID. SSID is the name of your Wi-Fi, and then password, and then the password, the real password. Okay. So this should be something like test Wi-Fi. Let's say there is a Wi-Fi access point with the name of test Wi-Fi, and then the password is, let's say, test 123. Okay. You should run this command, and if you hit enter, you will see. Now I'm on a virtual machine, so it's not identifying my Wi-Fi card which is plugged in. But in my host machine, I'm connected to Wi-Fi. Okay. So if you run this, you will have internet. But now I already have internet connection. As you can see, I am getting pings back. So yeah, okay. This is the first video for how to install Arch Linux. In the next video, I'll show you how to get a graphical environment like this, so that you can open browsers, terminal, etc. Yeah, and in the next video, I'll also show you how to add a new user and install a graphical environment and start using this. Okay. So thank you for watching, and if you are not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. I post videos about Linux and cyber security. So if you are interested, please consider subscribing. It will really help me a lot. Okay. So that's it for today's video. I just close this virtual machine, and that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching and subscribe.